everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is my first city living build. I'm really excited. It's an Asian inspired temple and market, and I was actually debating on whether, because I want to do a few Asian inspired builds because I really enjoy doing them, and I was debating on whether to do a sort of this central park lot or to do like a penthouse, and I went for this in the end. But if you guys want me to do an Asian inspired penthouse build, modern or old fashioned, or one of the lots which aren't, penthouse ones, one of the standard lot types that we have in the game, then I can also do that. So yeah, if you want that, just let me know. I also have other sort of Asian inspired builds already on my channel, so if you like them, then go ahead and watch them. I've got quite a few. I really didn't want to do this lot in 2 parts, and I think, to be honest, it was really stupid of me to think that that was possible. This is a 64 by 64 lot. I'd hoped that it'd been a 50 by 50, but I didn't know what the sizes were. But it's very silly of me to think I'd be able to get that much in and not, miss out, I feel like, key points of the build by doing that. But it's in 2 parts anyway, and I think it's mainly the reason, especially why I wanted to get this build into 1 part, is because I feel like at the end what I do is I kind of do finishing touches that bring the whole thing together and make it so much better, in my opinion. And I feel like I was like quite worrisome about how good it was up until that point, so that's the reason why I wanted to be, I wanted it to be of high quality, because I like to put out as best quality videos as I can, and I wanted it to be, up to par with my own standards, I guess. But I feel like I at least do that in the second part. So I mean, if you want to watch it, then I'd greatly appreciate it, but it is your life, you can do whatever you want. But if you do want to see that, I'd really appreciate you watching it, and I'll try my best to be as helpful as I can with how I didn't feel like my lot was going that well and I overcame it. Hopefully I can talk about that in that part. But I wanted to talk to you guys about something else. It was and this is slightly related. There aren't actually any going off now, but there were lots of fireworks going off before, and I guess it kind of ties into fireworks night, which was yesterday at Skyforks. It's like a tradition in England. I don't know whether... No, people wouldn't have that in other countries because it's like a very English thing. But anyway, we went out and celebrated that yesterday, and it was really fun, and I went with some relatives and I had a really good time. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about was, before that, it was yesterday, which was Saturday. I don't know when I'm releasing this video though, but it was Saturday, and I was due to start work at 7 in the morning. That was when the shop, because I work part-time in retail, I don't know whether I said that before, but the shop opened at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the other person who was there, who was opening up the shop with me, we had to get there 15-20 minutes before so that we could get it all ready before the doors opened. And that was my main manager. She was supposed to be there with me on that day, and she didn't actually turn up. What actually happened, so I pulled in, I saw a car which looked a lot like hers, so my mum had given me a lift in because it was so early, and I told her that it was alright and she could go even though the doors were closed, because I didn't want her to be waiting around. And so I went up to the door and I rang on the doorbell and no one was answering, and honestly I thought that it was like a situation of she got there before me, so it was like, no, you can stand out in the cold because you were like half a minute late or whatever it was, so you're not gonna come in until I'm ready to let you in, kind of thing. That's what I thought it was. So I was like, fair enough. I was like half a minute late or whatever. And so then I was waiting and it got closer to 7, and no one was coming out, and I was ringing the doorbell, and I'd even actually rang the phone on inside the actual branch, and no one was picking it up. And just to give some perspective, it was obviously it's getting colder now. It was about 1 or 2 degrees from I checked. I actually looked it up when I got home to see how cold it was. It was about 1 or 2 degrees, but I was wearing my work clothes. I didn't have a coat or anything like that, so it wasn't the coldest, but I didn't have a coat. I just had like a jumper and a pair of jeans because that was what I would need for work, because we've got a regulated temperature about sort of 18 degrees, so I wouldn't need anything warmer than that, otherwise I'll overheat, when I'm at work. So I was just standing out in the cold. My parents at home were up back in bed reading a book, having a tea, because it was a Saturday, and so I was ringing our house phone, and they weren't picking up because they couldn't hear it. And so I was actually out of data as well on my phone. So what I had to do is, because I didn't have anyone's phone numbers, because I've only been working there a short time, but I had someone on Facebook. So I had to borrow the hotspot off someone else's phone, someone who was one of the customers who was waiting to come in, and they were kind enough to lend me one. And then I got in contact with the assistant manager, and she called the main manager and actually woke her up. It was 7:10 by that point. And so then I had to wait for her to get ready and then drive to work and all that kind of stuff. So she ended up getting there about 20 to 8, which, good on her. She was waking up at 7:10. Getting there in that time is pretty decent. But and in the end, I think I managed to get hold of my dad on the phone, and so I had about 5 minutes of sitting in the car in the warmth to sort of thaw out after waiting. But I turned so many people away. And through all of this, I was on about 4 hours sleep as well. I couldn't get to sleep the night before, and so I was really, really tired. I was really, really cold, and it was an awful, awful morning. And actually, my manager I felt like she was kind of on edge because she was expecting me to be really, really annoyed. But actually, I just joked about it. I took the approach of life happens, and I know I was far, far from happy about what happened. Trust me, I was not happy about what happened. But I wanted to talk about it because later on that evening, I'd had a really good day at work as well, and later on that evening, I went out with my family to the fireworks, and the rest of the day was such a good day. I had such a good day. And while I was at work, I'd joked about it with a few of my colleagues, and I'd try to keep a positive mind. And back from a few years ago, that would have just set me off, possibly for a whole week. I would have just been in such a bad mood. But I'm kind of learning, I guess, and this is why I'm mentioning it. When terrible, terrible things happen to you, I mean, there's obviously a lot worse that could have happened to me, but that's the point. They're bad things, but it could be so much worse. And in those situations, we are allowed to feel bad about it. We are allowed to not be happy with the situation, but that doesn't mean that we have to sort of sit in a cesspool of hatred and anger for the rest of the day. All it's doing is ruining your day if you're doing that. It's not ruining anyone else's. They might have to deal with you being a moody pants. I was going to say something else then. A moody person the rest of the day. But actually, the only person that it's affecting is you. So I wanted to mention that, and I kind of thought of it because of the fireworks. But despite that happening, I actually had a really good day, and I feel like that's one of the things. It's that I guess leads to being happier, is thinking about all the things that actually you're really thankful for and you are happy for. It's like, at least I have a job, at least I'm not, at least I don't have to sleep out in that cold. I've got a house where I can go back to and I can warm up and I have a steady income. And I have all these, I have clothes to my back which are clean, and I was able to have a shower that morning. I know they're tiny things and they're things that you just sort of brush past every day, but I feel like they're important, Anyway, I've been babbling through and we're like ages on in the build, but at the front of this build, the front of it changes quite a bit actually, and I'm getting through to the buildings. You're probably wondering why I've got like the really small half walls just randomly around. That's where I'm going to do the entrances to all of these are all shops, like part of a market, by the way. They're all gonna, and like art studios and food stalls and that kind of thing, but they're all gonna be the entrances. And you know that I've got like the freezer around the edge of the buildings. I didn't want that to sort of clip out and distort by having it, so I end up replacing that for the get to work little fencing that's just like a strip on the floor. That's a really, really, really useful thing, by the way. And if you don't have get to work, it's one of the reasons why get to work is worth it, that little tool alone, because it can be really useful in these kinds of situations, because you don't have to put a wall, but you can still have the freezer going around as if it was a room. And I also do what is it called, there's like the sort of banister thing, that's not the right word. A little decorational thing which goes above, the wall that you kind of put on balconies sometimes. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. But this build was actually done mostly from memory and from when I'd sort of been exploring in China. And there's so many items in this that are so perfect that I've been waiting for so long. Like decorational items and the lanterns and all of that kind of stuff that I remember thinking, if only I had like all these, like there's so many, I can't even, like there's so many items. There's obviously some which I feel like would make this build even better if I had them, but I don't think they're gonna come in The Sims, so I should be grateful for what I've got. But I felt like there was so many things like on the side here, putting these little things. I do end up using that big one with the sort of soup or tea or whatever it is, but I put it somewhere else. But putting like the things on the side of the buildings and the sort of graffiti that's sort of in Asian style, I love it so much, and it looks really authentic because it's got, from what I remember, when I was in Shanghai and Beijing, they both had it where they had areas of the city where it would be like really, really modern and like the buildings all around that you can see in this lot, and then in sort of like pockets of places you'd have like really, really old-fashioned and traditional buildings, and some of them would be really, really run down and they'd been lived in for many years, and they had like wires going from all of them, and they had like posters all stuck up on them and lights hanging off, like advertisement lights hanging off, and it was such an experience being in them. And I feel like I got closer to showing what that was like in this build, not 100% close, but quite often in these sort of more traditional areas, they would leave the more traditional buildings that were more run down alongside where a temple was. So that's why I did both of them. It also filled up the lot, but I also wanted to make this still a place that you could, do weddings and stuff if you wanted to, because that was what they originally sort of said about this lot that was so good, that it already had the wedding venue. So I didn't want to take that away from you guys. You might have seen just a second ago, I kind of planned out what all of the different, bits are going to be. So this one's more like a wood workshop. The next one along is like precious metals, and I thought of maybe, it's stereotypical, but I thought that maybe it could be like a shop where they sold like jade and that kind of stuff, because there were a lot of those when I was in China at least. And then I think next one along, it was like really sort of pretty knickknacks kind of shop. And I was hoping that you'd be able to have people actually like manning these little stalls and it would be like a marketplace. I don't think it will do that, unfortunately. Maybe your Sims might be able to, man them themselves, but I don't think it will work properly, which really, really sucks, because that would have been awesome if you could actually buy all these things that I put on the little stalls. But the next one along is like an art studio, and that's got the art sort of canvas thing there, so you can put up your artwork, and it's got an art easel there, and the room itself is like really, really inspiring for your Sims, so you could use it as like a studio if you wanted. Oh, also there's also a kitchen, obviously toilets, and a bed, because I thought I made like a little bedroom in the temple, because I thought that maybe there might be a resident that would live there, but you could live on this lot if you wanted, What else? So then there's a couple of food stalls. There's also, what's the next one along? Oh, there's like a little spa. I do like a little massage spa sort of place. And then there's one where there's like, I put a whole lot of sort of bonsai trees, and I also put the food market sort of stall produce, and I put like gardening supplies and stuff like that in that one. Then we've got like a little tea shop, and then I've also through getting the bb.move objects cheat, it's also got like fireworks and the stall from the romance festival, because it had the, what is it called, like sakura, I can't remember. Anyway, the sort of more Japanese style thing. But this is me just sort of putting some items in and planning out. I don't know if I actually make this now. No, I think I was just putting in some items. I think I go on to the spa now. Maybe I should have, talked about it as I was going. I don't know. But I really love a lot of the items that we have in this new pack. There's really, really pretty rugs, and I don't know, maybe it's just because it's new, and that's why it feels, like they're such good items, because it's new content, and it makes, I feel like this builds all the rooms much more exciting than they actually are to me. I feel like possibly if I'd made them, or I'd been used to some of these items before, that actually they wouldn't be all that special, because we'd all have got used to buy these, objects by now, and actually possibly the interior isn't, the best done ever. It's not anyway, but yeah, I felt like it wasn't, I guess, the best I could possibly do, but I felt like it was more true to what it actually was. Like, there was a certain sort of aesthetic that I was going for, and I felt like it fit with that more, if that makes sense. I don't know. I put mannequins in, and I tried to then dress them, and it didn't work. So I have finished the build, and I've done all the clips for it. I haven't taken screenshots yet, but or uploaded it to gallery actually, and I'm wondering if I should take them out. Yeah, I doubt I'm probably gonna have that all sorted by the time this video gets up. So I was going to ask you guys if you wanted me to keep the mannequins in there, because it's kind of weird having just naked mannequins. But I would have loved to, have like really sort of more traditional clothes and like more out there clothes on these mannequins, and sort of more, I guess, so that your Sims could try them on. And that, I'd really, really hope that would work. But I guess because it is a Central Park lot, and it's not like a normal park, or a shop or something like that, it didn't really work, which is a shame. But I think this does place as a national park lot. I know that because it's got a barbecue and it's got benches, so that's fine. I'm pretty sure it will place as that, although I haven't put a bin. Have I put a bin? I'll make sure I put a bin. But it may even, do it as a lounge lot, because I have got a bar here as well. But if you wanted to put it somewhere else and not actually put it in San Myshuno, if I'm saying that right, I'm going to have to learn how to say it. I think I'd said it right. But if you don't want to put it in this lot, then you can probably put it as a different one. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that maybe this won't work properly. I don't remember if the food stalls. I think you have to hire someone, which also sucks. I wish that this lot could work as a market. I wish that this was the festivals weren't constricted to only the places that they were supposed to be. I know that it would be very, very difficult for them. Like, I know that they wanted it to be sort of dynamic and different every time, and to do it on a lot that was always the same, it wouldn't really work that way. But it would have been awesome if they had an option to make, a market all the time. I'm at the end of the build. I didn't realise. But thank you guys very, very much for watching, and hopefully see you again soon.